You've got Bob Arum, who is so desperate for Andy Ruiz to end up in a court case with no money and to lose his IBF belt that he's apparently the Saudi Arabia, the US government say you mustn't go there. Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Look into the facts. Bob Arum also says it's a war zone, apparently. Absolute rubbish. We were there 3 days ago. It is spectacular. It is ready for this event. So they had some questions which we're talking. There's a press conference in 2 weeks. Both fighters will be there and the fight will take place. Saudi Arabia.
Eddie's there an update for October 12th? Who's that?
Yes, he's fighting in Chicago, Wintrust Arena. I saw a report from Boxing Scene who've got a lot of things wrong lately, but that's another story. About Fedosov, there's been no contract sent to Fedosov. He is in the running. There's what's debated?
That we get a lot of things wrong.
That's I wasn't referring to you. It wasn't your article, but you have got quite a few things.
Eddie,
not you.
Carlos
Takam is out of the fight. He's not taking the fight.
Eddie, Bob Arum said that you're announcing the fight without the fighters there. Allow Andy Ruiz to grab you by the balls, so to speak.
Listen, we've got a contract. We followed the exact rules of the contract. We have a rematch clause at a venue to be decided by us. All we've got to do is let them know where that venue is. Bob Arum he's on another place. He's totally lost the plot. He hates Andy Ruiz so much. All he wants to do is let Andy Ruiz waste his career, lose his belts. That's the main thing. He's got Pulev. So if he don't take this fight, Pulev gets the belt. So what Bob Arum needs to do is concentrate on his own shows. His last 2 shows, one in LA and one in Philadelphia, sold a cumulative amount of tickets of about 800. In fact, next week I'm getting him right out of trouble, selling 18,000 people for Lomachenko Campbell in London. So Bob just needs to calm down and just I know he's trying to cause trouble for Andy Ruiz, but the fight's on, taking place. There's no, he's got him by the balls. We've got a contract. All we've got to do is tell him where it is.
Why Saudi Arabia?
Why Saudi Arabia? Because it was a neutral venue, and all these conversations were had with Ruiz's team.
Oh, really?
Well, we said to him, we want to do it in London. Look, he really don't want to do it in London. He's got a major problem. Okay, we'll do it in a neutral venue. What would you prefer, London or Saudi Arabia? Their response, Saudi Arabia.
Gotcha.
Right? Of course the money's good. Right? I'm not going to lie to you. But there is a chance, and I keep saying to people, there is a whole nother world out there for boxing. If the Middle East become invested in the sport of boxing, I promise you, unfortunately for you guys, you will not be seeing as many mega fights in this country or in the UK, because this country and the UK cannot match the potential investment for fights in the Middle East. That's just fact.
What about some of the backlash regarding that?
We understand it. We understand it, and I understand not everyone's going to be happy. And people say, oh, you're hiding behind the WWE, the World Boxing Super Series, Formula One, the European Tour, the Tennis Super Cup, the Italian Super. These are all major events by organisations that are much, much bigger than Matchroom, much, much bigger than this fight. When George Groves boxed Callum Smith in the final of the World Boxing Super Series in Saudi Arabia, no one said one thing.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's me.
Because that's true, but
yeah, it's
why
me.
do you think that is?
It's me, but it's more the profile of the fight, the size of the fight, and people want to criticise. There was no one really pushing that fight. So if I did that fight, I would have got a load of stick, but not as much stick as Joshua. No, not for that.
What about that? Eddie don't feel safe going over there.
Andy Ruiz will be the safest person on the planet. We've been out there. We've got everything completely under control. The government, skills challenge, they want to make this, the whole world will be watching this event.
How come you say that he signed a contract and then Andy Ruiz says he never signed? He said it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. Andy Ruiz says he's not going.
And then he came back and said, look, I'm sorting everything out.
Right.
That's being sorted out. There's a press conference in 2 weeks. Both fighters will be there. Saudi Arabia, London, New York. He's quite right to ask certain questions. His team, they wouldn't be doing a job if they weren't. All those questions have been satisfied. You'll hear from Andy Ruiz in the next day or so about the fight. And he wanted it on neutral. He didn't want to come to the UK. So you can't moan about not coming to the UK. Then you get a neutral venue and moan about a neutral venue. He was given an opportunity from the gods. And he pulled off a victory from the gods, which he deserves. Be a man, honour the contract. That is what he will do. That is what his team will do. Tom Brown, Al Heyman, Louis DeCubas, all those people fully on board to deliver what they promised they'd deliver in writing.
Does it
by
go,
law.
Does it go to litigation if it doesn't go to Saudi Arabia, if he doesn't accept
Yeah,
the
absolutely. Yeah, but everybody knows that. I mean, that's a standard procedure. If you break a contract, you know, then he'll lose. You know, once you're in a litigation process, you'll lose your belts.
If Ruiz loses,
So-
can we expect a third fight?
But yeah, I think if Andy Ruiz was to lose,
But there's no rematch.
no rematch clause, no.